Is the. Just somebody who asked, everything wanted to. So you got a race in there, Patty?
Thinking about it.
Yeah. Good weekend.
I gotta get a small one, to be honest with you.
Don't have one?
I'd like to call the tourism committee for January 21st to order. And the first thing we're going to do is the motion to approve the minutes for the November 19th, 2024. Supervisor Trainer. Supervisor Prosido. I got it. Anybody who has any discussion about the minutes? No, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, we'll open the floor. The public comment, privilege of the floor should be respectful, last about 3 to 5 minutes, and definitely be pertaining to the agenda. For anybody who would like to speak? No? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to our next action item. It's a resolution request to award the contract with Successful Media Buying Services vendor. It's a 1-year contract from March 1st, 2025 to February 28th of 2026. And it's not to exceed $1,138,000. And if Heather would like to give us some details.
Absolutely. So we received 19 bids for media buying services. We originally put this out last year, probably in the third quarter, and had to put it back out. There were a couple of reasons. Number one, we wanted a breakdown of what costs were. We were given a couple of lump sums, and I wanted to know exactly what we were getting from it, first and foremost. And then secondarily, opening it up to allow them to provide more of a recommendation, whether they wanted to recommend just broadcast or digital media or what have you. So we changed this to a media buying services rather than a broadcast and digital media buying. We put it back out, and of course, we had a lot more apply. We had very good responses. Thank you to Casey and Paul for the due diligence and the purchasing office department due diligence in reviewing all of these. It came down to a 10 a.m. decision this morning. We talked about it a lot. And we are going to do two things. The changes from this last year to this year is we're going to buy media based on a reporting and an analytical standpoint. Therefore, we're going to use analytics that use basically digital analytics to showcase the impact. So when we run a campaign, I'm going to just say winter campaign, and we spend $200,000 on that winter campaign, we're going to follow those via digitally. Sorry, just reality of what's happening in the world when you use your phone and you open it up. Sorry, but it's what's happening. We will then pixelate and be able to get a return on investment. So we'll be able to say how many overnight stays that generated, and how many ad spend, or excuse me, in market spend that generated. We will also be able to say the interest and see the interest of different parties. So should those interests change? And really our focus this year is additional overnight stays for specifically in the summer, midweek stay for the summer, and also off summer overnight stays, specifically with outdoor adventure, and really pushing our outer parts of what I'm going to call the Glens Falls, Lake George area. So with that, we will be funding a reporting system. So that's why it's additional higher. It's also higher. But believe it or not, it's less than the prior year's budgets. Our prior year budget was 1.25. This particular awardee is oh.
Can I just say something? Mike Wild just came in. I think all this information you just gave us would interest him, because he's always looking for ROI.
ROI. I'll remind it for you. So we this year we are actually going to return to working with workshop. It came down to 3 different bids, and one of the bids that was our top choice unfortunately didn't provide everything that the bid required. And we do that because that also shows the ability to be attentive to what our needs are. So our top choice did not get the bid, but Workshop is a top choice as well. And so they are doing, they work with Adara, for lack of better words, they're a reporting platform that will help us do the purchasing. They have a 6% markup. So I do want to say $1 million of this allocation is 100% paid media. So the $1 million will be what we purchase in the paid media. Annual retainer of $45,000 to oversee the account, which is billed monthly, $3,750. And Adara reporting at $33,000, paid monthly at $2,750. And the media buying is plus 6% this year. Our budget is $1 million. And so that will be $1,060,000 because they bill us that media that they run. So that will run from bills from them. So our recommendation to the committee is to to award the media buying services to Lake Placid Advertiser Workshop commencing March 1st, ending February 28th, keep me honest here, with an additional 2-year, what's the word you use, please, Mr. Attorney? Additional
Two additional 1 year.
terms. Thank you. For an additional 2-year, 1-year terms.
Before we have any discussion or questions, we need to have this motion brought to the floor. Supervisor Strainer.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, does anybody have any? Okay,
We ever worked with this company before?
They were our media buying company in the past.
So you're pretty familiar with them?
Very familiar. Very familiar, yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Any further questions? No? All right,
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
I believe, if my memory serves, we do get a report from them as to where they advertised and the effectiveness of advertising, where they did, and so forth.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what we get from them is impressions and how many clicks it came to our site, and how the cost per thousand, things like that. But what we never got before was the economic impact. So we did not get the ability to measure that marketing more clearly from a heads and beds and a visitor spend. That is the additional, but then also utilizing this dashboard, which is pulling in, for lack of better words, it's pulling in information about potential visitors that we can tap into, so that, for example, I'm going to pick Pennsylvania is a market that we saw came into the area. Maybe only 1% of the population that visited here came from Pennsylvania, but they spend more money, on average. So we're going to maybe want to do a campaign towards that to increase the visitation, because they'll come here and spend more dollars. So that's the approach that we're taking in really looking at the analytics and what visitors are actually doing that visit us and or may not visit us, but visit other destinations that are very similar to us.
St. George Regional Chamber makes use of that information as well.
Not necessarily, but they have access, like we can run reports. We're actually starting that this year, running monthly reports from our analytics. But their media buying is different than ours. And it's
interesting to match the two.
It is, but ours is business to consumer, hers is business to business. So it's like we're measuring and looking, but that doesn't mean that they're not opportunities for her, because those visitors also may work in corporations that may come.
Same visitor, right?
Could be, like she's targeting the group market and those that are booking those groups and those conventions. So she's basically targeting to a business, where I'm targeting to an actual visitor, so a consumer end of it. But yeah, 100%. And Gina shares a lot of analytics, so we share a lot of information back and forth.
Okay.
And you know what, as we go down this road and explore this, there's Gina and I can absolutely talk about ways to collaborate on it. And I can look through the agency to see what opportunities there are from a business to business perspective versus a business to consumer.
I think.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? No? Okay, then I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Motion carried. The second action item we have is to extend a contract with Grove Marketing, Inc. for 2 years to extend an expiring contract for the purchase and subscription of data sets and dashboard reporting. Can I bring that to the floor? Supervisor Stringer, okay. Supervisor Malina. Do you wanna address that, Heather, or do you want me to?
I would, because this is very different than two things. First of all, the reason why it's a 2-year is the negotiation that I did to keep the cost the same an additional year. So it's not like our normal contracts where we do a year and then multi-year. I've negotiated them to stay with the same rates as 1 year, which is why it's 2 years. I then want to go into a little bit of detail on this. So really the platform itself and the work for the platform is a little shy of $10,000. The rest is 2 parts. There is about advisory, here it is, about $50,000 of direct cost for analytic data. What that is that the Visa data that gives us information on the spending from visitors on a monthly basis. We've actually changed that from a quarterly to a monthly, so we're able to better report on occupancy tax as well as tourism programs. We're also doing a visitor satisfaction study that basically looks at and will be available to report back out to all of the tourism businesses. Takes 200 properties within hotels, restaurants, and attractions, gives 2-year historical data, and it basically allows, goes to all of the rating platforms, i.e. Yelps and things like that, and tells each of the businesses how well they're doing from a consumer perspective. So that'll be able to set some goals for us to achieve, i.e., if there's certain sectors that are having a negative impact, we can work to build that up and or help the businesses recognize what the consumers are saying about their businesses. Okay, you look like that question. We also get data on the Canadian demographic profile. Again, this is very important because they're our neighbor. To me, I think they're a local traveler, even though they have to cross a border. Air DNA data and mobile data. Air DNA is the short-term rental data. And then the mobile location data that is to give us sort of where visitors are within a certain area based on their geolocation, i.e. where they stand and are within a certain radius within Warren County. Whether, if they go to the insuring arena, we can see that percentage of them, the demographics that go there are X, Y, Z. And then there's an advisory service. We added this on because I'm asking them to build a full reporting of everything together so that it'll build this as a dashboard of pulling all of these data sets together to be able to give a better report to this committee on a monthly basis, as well as sharing it with the publication or with our businesses. And there are various payment schedules based on when they do that service.
Okay. Supervisor Stringer.
So just to confirm, the total fee
Oh, yes,
for 2025 is projected to be 75,200.
correct.
And if we go with them for year 2, it'd be 78,700.
Oh, okay, great point. The difference is in the second year, I have added something that wasn't in the first, excuse me. Thank you for pointing that out. So the resident sentiment data, I've asked them to do that in 2026. And the reason is we're doing a lot of things with our brand and brand discovery. And I want to see how those changes react in 26. So I basically want them, when we do that resident study, I want to be able to see how the residents have reacted to what we've done in 25. So it's more of a check. And what that is it's survey based that's collected from residents. So whether we partner with, utility companies, tax bills, what have you, to put these surveys in there or a notification to go online to do a survey, things like that. It's basically a measurement tool that I can use to see how successful we are, but then also see how we can make things better. Because I really do believe that our residents are our visitors as well. And I think that it's good to understand how they feel about tourism, good, bad, and indifferent, and how we can help make it better for them and or address any concerns and or provide them with information that they don't think they have or need. So I think it's a good tool. So yes, I apologize. It is to keep the cost the same, but we're adding one additional piece to the second year.
Okay, good, thanks.
Yeah, well,
I've just got this one question. I've seen it a couple times today. It states this contract began January 1st. We didn't vote on it.
I pulled it because there were a couple of things in their, there were a couple of things that were in their bid that we hadn't discussed, and I wasn't comfortable with the pricing.
So they started with
But
us, according to this, on January 1st.
they actually, we're sort of on hold. There's nothing
Okay,
that they need to
because-
do, so it's more what's the word I'm looking for? On execution of contract. I almost said convention. It's execution of contract.
Okay. Because I've seen this a couple times
Yeah.
today that we were moving these along and they were 2 weeks before we should have done it. And so now we're just kind of catching up. And because if we had voted no, would we have had to pay these people anything for the 2 weeks?
No.
Okay.
Because they haven't done anything, but that's a
Okay.
great question.
Any other questions before we vote?
Heather, what is Air DNA? That's not a platform.
It's Airbnb and VRBO mixed together, and they serve,
Air DNA is VRB, and-
AirDNA is the combination of Airbnb
okay,
and VRBO. So they get the data directly
I
from those
gotcha.
portals,
I got it.
yes.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Right, then I
Thank
guess-
you.
Any other questions? Comments? All right, I'll call the question then. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next item is discussion items from the tourism director's report.
So I just have a few updates that I wanted to keep everybody appraised of. First of all, for those that are new on the committee, welcome. My office is available to you at any time, actually. If I can shoot, now that I say that, I look around, welcome, and anything you need, you know where to find me. I just want to report that Kevin and Kyle in our office have completed a Simple View certification. And what that is, a Simple View is our website, and I'm very excited that they have completed this because it allows them to actually do the work needed to promote the Lake George area via our website. Kyle is working with Aaron. We're calling every business to make sure their information is updated on the website, as well as ensuring that they are a member of our platform so that they have control of that information. There are some mom and pop businesses that don't use technology, and so the majority of them are seasonal. So they then will be doing a drive-by type of education. So they'll go to those businesses that don't necessarily use technology and get the updates from them and let them know what's there and what's the best way to communicate with them on some of this data. And if that's a phone call, that's a phone call, but it's more of our office becoming more engaged with the businesses and letting them know that we're here as a resource. So I'm excited for that. And then a couple of projects that we're working on, winter video shoot. Thank you for hosting them during their time here. They scouted, and winter shooting is a little bit different because not only do you have shorter days, you also have colder temperatures, and therefore can only shoot so long, and then the machines kind of need to be warmed up. But in February 13, 14, and 15, we're going to be in the area. We are shooting everything from Gore to Garnet Hill to West to the winter carnivals, so on and so forth. So we're finalizing those details, and we're very excited for that. We're also working on a brand discovery. This is not a rebrand, it's just a brand discovery. It's gonna report out a position statement for us, a segment summary, like profiles, like who are our markets that we're gonna go after, tone, style, and brand voice. That'll be done in the middle of February. Then we're working on what is called a destination management plan. This is gonna take about a year, and this is going to, where they come in, they're gonna do a visitor secret shopper. They're gonna also have stakeholder interviews. They're gonna also present along the way to this committee, the discoveries that they have along the way, as well as build out a brand advocacy plan. And then present a final presentation at the end of the year, so that it's basically, it's a direction to us over the next 3 to 5 years on where we are from a tourism destination. And that's my report.
Good job.
Okay, then I'll open the meeting up. Privilege of the floor and public comment. Does anybody have a comment? No? Okay.
Nope.
Then we'll need a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Thank you all.
They didn't put his bag 25